What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to TTG Plays, and we're here playing something I have played through before on my old channel. We're playing Donkey Kong Country. You might be wondering, hey Dan, you've already played through this once, why are you doing it again? And basically, there's a couple of reasons. Number one is I've got more I want to say on this. That was a couple of years ago, and I think it's kind of fun to go back to the very first game I ever released as a Let's Play, and see how far we've come, how far I've come. Especially since I was a Game Over Gerkinman where there was multiple people, you know, all talking at once. So that's one reason I want to talk about the level design in particular in this trilogy. Something that wasn't really covered in the first playthrough that we did. And the second reason is I'm going to be having 2 games running a week from here on in, and I want on Wednesdays and Saturdays to be a focus on Nintendo stuff. So on Mondays and Fridays, we're going to be having more serious RPGs. Currently Nier is running, but then after that there's going to be the Souls series, Dragon's Dogma, Kingdoms of Amalur, and a few games like that. So on the other days of the week, or 2 other times of the days of the week, I'd like to have something a little bit more fun, a little bit more entertaining, and so I want to focus on Nintendo games during that period because nothing screams fun quite like Nintendo. Like I said, I want to talk about some level design stuff, and I guess the best place to start would be with the storytelling that's in this game, because outside of the manual telling you the King K. Rool has stolen all your bananas, there's really no indication of that like anywhere in the game, unless you come inside this little cave here, where it's simply your banana hoard is missing. And I like the way that conveys all you need to know right there. There's no dialogue, there's no text. It's quite simply, hey, your bananas are gone. And also, if you come up here into your house, you get a life. And, you know, that might be a simple thing, but really all that is there to tell you is that, hey, you should probably be exploring your environment because you never know, like, there are secrets here, basically, is what that's telling you. This is being played on the Wii U, obviously, so I'm just getting used to the controls here. Very similar to Super Mario Brothers, the very first enemy you come across is a naughty, which is going to force you to jump. Although, unlike Mario, you can also roll into your enemies, which is something that's definitely worth noting. This game has, I would say, like a very organic feel. Not, well, maybe organic's the wrong word, because really there's nothing organic about this level design here. You can kind of see how it loops and the way the surfaces come up in a really unnatural fashion, but I like how curved the ground manages to be, which, for the time, if all you had played, oh man, that's the problem with DK right there. If all you had played was the Mario games, everything was very flat, if there was ever a rise in the ground, it was always at a right angle. And I think Donkey Kong Country is the first game I ever really saw that had these like slight curvature to the ground, I think is the right way of putting it. So I think that's kind of like something that's notable about the series that no one ever really talks about. Also the animal bodies, obviously, running around in animals. Mario did that first with Yoshi, but I think Donkey Kong really took that to another level entirely. And as I said, secrets everywhere. I have to get off to get that? Really? So this particular run through, this will not be a 100% run. I do plan on going through all the Donkey Kong games in chronological order, so after this will be Donkey Kong Land, and then that'll be followed by Donkey Kong Country 2, etc, etc. I'm not doing them all back to back, because that would be insane. But I think watching this series evolve is something I'm definitely interested in doing videos on. Also down here we've got this armadillo. These enemies are probably like my favorite in the game. I mean, they're a pain in the ass, especially as Diddy, obviously. And I like the fact that they put that in there, where different enemies require different techniques to... Really? Okay. Well, I mistimed that. I like the fact that different enemies require different techniques depending on which character you're playing as. This is really hard for me, actually, because usually this game, I'm just like trying to speed run through it. I'm not usually actually trying to take my time. So that's a little... feels a little unusual playing that way. Ugh. Also, playing this with a stick is a little bit weird. It's not too bad, actually. Okay. So how's everyone doing anyway? Hope you're all doing well. Like I said, I want to start doing like Nintendo games in the in-between days between my main games. A lot of Nintendo games are short as well, or a lot of the older ones anyway, which means I won't take forever to record. I mean, I could record this in a single day if I really wanted to. I'm not going to, because that would be crazy, but, you know, I'll probably record a few episodes. Get a nice buffer together. But yeah, sorry for anyone who was like hoping for something new. I wouldn't worry about that too much, because there's definitely some games I've never played before that'll be getting played as well, but, you know, I wanted to start with something I was already comfortable with. This is worth noting too. The way the, well, I'll do this bonus all here, but the way that the sun comes up there in the background, I'm not entirely sure how they did that, but it's a very cool thing that they added into the game there. So this one? Yes! Too good. I did it. So I also want to play through the Returns games. I really love Donkey Kong Country Returns, and I recently played through Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze and really enjoyed that. Okay, so there's a trigger here, so as soon as you cross this, that's what fades out the rain. And I guess there must be trackers on the actual ground here, which once you pass them, the ground increases in brightness a certain... or the sky, sorry, increases in brightness a certain amount. Oh, damn it. Anyway, I don't need the G. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Mostly just rambling here. I will say, not that this first world hasn't really gotten much of this, but I will say that there's two different kinds of levels in the Donkey Kong Country games. And those are straight platforming levels, which there certainly are more of in Donkey Kong Country 1. And then the other ones are what I call the gimmick levels, where they have a really simple gimmick to them, which the second game experimented with a lot of those, and then the third game almost feels like almost every single stage is a gimmick level. So I think that's one of the other things I wanted to talk about in terms of the game's design as the series evolved over time, is that move from straight platforming, like this is just pure straight platforming, nothing crazy going on here. I love the atmosphere in this level. Yeah, pure platforming at its most Mario-like, and I would definitely say that's the biggest difference between this series and Mario as it progressed. Aside from the fact that Donkey Kong feels like he has a ton of weight. Not so much Diddy, obviously, because he's the smaller of the two. But Donkey definitely feels like a heavy character. Yeah, definitely the fact that as the series progressed, it became more and more about these little gameplay gimmicks. Whereas Mario kind of really just stuck to focusing on solid platforming over time. Except for this level, of course, Coral Keepers. Swimming levels in side-scrolling platformers are something that I don't think any game's ever really gotten right. I don't hate these levels in Donkey Kong Country. I'm kind of indifferent towards them. Some of them have some interesting ideas, for sure. But I don't think that they're particularly great either. Well, that was my fault. I thought I could outrun that, but evidently I was wrong. I do think it's kind of hilarious. I remember one of the topics that we brought up was when we recorded this series originally, which was I think back in 2013, so it's been a few years. I think it's about time I revisited this series, since it is one of my favorites of all time. And the idea of having it just trapped on that old channel, which is, you know, kind of abandoned now, the old Game Over Gerkinman channel. There's not really anything happening there anymore. I remember we were talking about the idea that, because at the time, the Donkey Kong Country games had just been removed off the Wii's Virtual Console. And we had all these weird ideas why that might be. It could have been because of rights issues, because of Rare. Obviously, having built these in the past, and they wanted, maybe they were getting royalties. I don't know the back end of this, but then a great thing happened where a couple of, I guess it was like either last year or the year before, they released them all on the Wii U again, and obviously because I had them on my Wii, which was transferred to my Wii U, I could just pay $1 and get them all migrated over. And despite the pixelation, I still really like the visuals of this series. Still think they're relatively good looking games, although the first one's definitely the most plasticine-y looking of the series. I liked how much more natural it got as time went. We're already almost finished the first world, holy moly. I'm going to skip most of this part here because there's not... Level design here isn't that interesting. I feel like they returned to this... They returned to that style later on with the... there's a level with the ostriches in the temple world. I do love those shortcuts to just let people who know what they're doing just skip huge portions of the level. Oh, no you don't. Something I didn't bring up is I love the fact that the attack patterns of the characters are actually dictated by their color. So if you watch closely, you got green ones will keep walking forwards, blue ones kind of like just do little hops on the spot. And just by looking at the colors of the characters, if you were keeping an eye on it, you can tell what their attack pattern's going to be like. I think that's pretty, actually, an elegant... when you don't have the budget or perhaps the card space to have... I'm sure it was more likely a budget thing because these 3D visuals were pretty damn expensive at the time. If you don't have the budget to recreate individual characters for every single attack pattern you want to use, the idea of palette swaps is actually a really clever workaround. And also RPGs do a lot as well. But yeah, it's actually pretty sophisticated. And of course, this is the first boss fight, which is really just to make sure that you've mastered the skills that you've picked up during this first world. Can you jump? Yes, you can. Alright, you're good to go. And that's that. That's the first world done already. I love that little winking animation. It's great. Alright, so thank you very much for joining me. Next time we are going to these monkey mines. I hope you'll join me for that. And yeah, basically just thank you again for joining me. I hope you don't mind that I'm doing the Nintendo stuff alongside the other stuff now. And like I said, sorry it's a repeat of a game I've already played, but I feel like I'm at that point now where it's almost reflective compared to where I started. So I hope you enjoy this series. Obviously, it's not a very long game, so it won't be more than a couple of weeks. So thank you for your time, and if you're enjoying this video, let me know in the comments below, or give the video a like, and I'll catch you next time. So yeah, peace out and have a good one.